Alright guys, HyDra back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. With 4 teams expected to dominate the upcoming CDL season, the question has been raised, how quickly should other teams, if they don't deliver, decide to make some changes? aBeZy believes, of course, they should blow it up immediately. After a few bad sets of scrims, some of these teams should already be looking for changes to be made. Which teams would consider changes early? Which teams do you expect to ride out the pain of the first part of the season? Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Firstly, if you guys are fans of Temp's music, he's actually got some more stuff coming out soon potentially. He says, I'm not dropping nothing soon. I remember that Donny said actually in a Q&A, and I feel kind of sad about it really, that he thought that organizations wouldn't take him as seriously if he kept up the making music, basically. They thought that, obviously it's a good hobby of his, and he's done well doing it, I think, and he's improving over time. But he felt like organizations would say, oh, this guy's a part-time player, you know, he's focused on the music stuff. I don't know if organizations will really see it that way, but I know that Temp said, you know what, I might just have to take a step away from my hobby just to ensure that teams take me seriously. But, you know, hopefully that's not the case, really. And he does imply here that he's got a couple of things ready to go, maybe for the near future. You guys might remember as well, this talk about the map editor. This was June the 6th, 2022. There was rumors that a map editor was going to come to Modern Warfare 2, the current COD title before the new one comes out in around about a month. Modified maps will allow each creator the option of customizing spawn points, objectives, and restrictions with the addition of completely changing the scenery of a level. Wow, that sounded good, didn't it? And apparently this was in the works. I mean, Valve's talked about it at the time. This got a lot of traction. As we know, this never arrived, and I don't think people really expected it to ever arrive, to be honest. It was Infinity Ward, and these things tend to take way longer. This is the issue, really, with a game that lasts 1 year. And there's pros and cons. There always is to having a 1 year cycle compared to a 2, 3, 4 year cycle. One of the things, though, that can happen when a game has a very long cycle is stuff like this. Counter-Strike Global Offensive came out in 2012, the most recent update, and this will probably be the final ever version of CS because they've done it with like Team Fortress 2, Valve, and with Dota 2. They just kind of have 2, and then that's like the one edition of the game forever. And Counter-Strike 2 came out just the other day, and they have this really cool feature, which is not dissimilar in some... I mean, obviously, you can also edit maps and make your own maps in these games as well, which is way better than what you can do in COD and even what you can do in, like, the Forge and stuff in Halo. But if you're throwing grenades in CS, which is a massive part of the game, if you're practicing your lineups, it will actually have it will show you on a little location here on the bottom left-hand side, a live camera of exactly where that grenade is going to land, or if it's a flashbang, like where it's going to explode in midair, which is incredible stuff, and it makes finding lineups way easier in the game, and is a feature that people have thought about for some time, and they're actually executed and put into the title itself. So CS is doing stuff like this, and we don't even have a theatre mode anymore. Like, I remember back in the day, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, like the first games that I started playing, theatre mode was a massive thing, really useful. And, okay, it wasn't always a perfect representation of the game, and I believe that theatre mode still exists in COD. We just can't use it anymore. I'm pretty sure it's like the developers maybe have access to it. You see some of it be used, I'm guessing, for like, you know, promotional videos and stuff, but it's not really been in the game for a long time now. And it's really frustrating because, you know, every year COD comes out and yet it has less features, it seems, than the year before did. So I do wonder whether Microsoft, when they do eventually come in, if that ever actually happens, will change the perception on how often the games will come through, whether they'll make some additions there. But as we move into October, there are still 4 CDL teams that have not said anything with regard to their roster. Seattle Surge is coming soon. The other 3 we really don't know. And as we said yesterday, it might just be another 2. We don't know if Los Angeles Guerrillas are even going to bother. Ravens are going to bother with something. Vegas, I'm sure, are going to do something at some point. Guerrillas, we really don't know. But there are some teams that are being formed that most people think won't be that good. Now, could these teams have done that much better? That's another question, given the fact that a lot of the top talent is locked up on the top teams, which does make sense. But the other point is, if they start to struggle, should they make changes quickly? Because the season, again, won't be that long. And if you wait 2, 3, 4 months to try and make changes, maybe some of your best options in challenges are gone. Maybe some other options you might have missed the boat on changes, and all of a sudden you're really struggling to qualify for the World Championship. That's why aBeZy believes that that a few bad weeks of scrims for some of these teams at the start of the season, that should instigate immediate blow it up changes.
How quickly should a team blow it up this year? How quickly?
ASAP.
What do you mean ASAP? You don't want them to play at all?
Top 4, bro. If you're not in the top 4 and you're getting world start, yeah, make a better team.
So when's that line? How fast? How fast? Like 2 weeks in, a month in, 2 months in? Like, what are you thinking?
As soon as you're getting smoked in scrims, Tom.
Nah,
that's a what?
Bro, here's my problem, bro. We talked about this. We talked about this in the offseason when some of these teams were getting formed, bro. Like, we obviously know the top 4 is the top 4.
No way.
But like some of the teams that the 5th through 8th teams signed are dog shit. Like,
name them.
Bro, combine your best players and just make at least like a 5th, 6th best team. Like, I don't understand why like one good player is on the 7th team with 3 other bad players. Like, bro. They should have been some more collusion, bro, and got with the good players.
It's just the way people build teams, man. I don't know. The way people build teams now is just
you can't blow it up based on
they're just playing with their friends, bro.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know, but okay, ASAP.
So Aikson blowing it up, of course, is a classic combination, but looking at the rosters, I just don't know how many of them will subscribe to this idea. I think it's very likely that after, let's say, Major 2, we're talking February time, teams will start making moves. Because there are 4 teams theoretically that should be the best. FaZe, OpTic, New York, Toronto, whatever order you want to say. It's really difficult for me to order those teams because Toronto should be really good on paper, but you never really know how the new game is going to work. Is it going to favor some players more than others? Between those top 4 teams, so hard to call. The only one that I'm a little bit less convinced by is just Subliners, because I just don't know how the SIB thing is going to work, but the other teams should be really good, and of course OpTic, you've always got the question as to whether they're actually going to deliver on the potential. FaZe, Toronto, I mean, they all should be really good. I don't expect those teams to make changes for a good while yet. They might do at some point in the season if things go badly wrong. I mean, even Toronto last year looked pretty good on paper. They swapped out Standy for Hixie, that improved them. Now they've swapped out Hixie for Envoy, and they should improve again on paper. So then you've got some of the other teams. Boston, I would say, are a bit of a work in progress. They do want to win, though, and we've got to say with Boston, they are not messing around. Last season, they made a lot of changes, some controversial, some didn't work, but they tried. They got top 4, and they were like, all right, top 4 is not good enough. We want to make some further progress. Let's keep making moves. So I think Boston will make changes this year if they underdeliver. What might those changes be? That's a big question, because I like what they've done, and I feel like they know that Snoopy is a talent for the future, and that's why if I'm Boston, you've got to be patient for like at least 2 or 3 months, just to see how the team progresses, how Snoopy fits in, whether those guys around Snoopy are the right fit, whether the Capsidal Snoopy SMG duo really works, and then make some decisions. So I don't expect them to blow it up within a matter of weeks. Thieves, if the chemistry is completely terrible, maybe it's necessary. But they've got Jacob over there. They've got Shane over there. That should be fine. That's the one risk I see with this team, because there is some good talent on this roster. I'm just, Ghosty, Cammy, I don't know how that's going to work. We know that Ghosty and Dashy had some friction. So there's some questions. And if Cammy doesn't play, I mean, people were expecting Cobb or Cammy, but, if Cammy doesn't play at a good level, they might consider moves there. And I think Thieves could make changes at some point, but I don't expect it to be in a matter of weeks. The only one that I really see here with a chance of doing that's been announced so far is maybe Minnesota Rocker, just because of all the teams that have been confirmed, that's the one that I'm maybe least confident in that will actually have good upside. I'm just not convinced really by, the way the SMG line works, bringing Vivid in there. It could work for sure. And to be honest, I don't really know what you do if this team doesn't work early on. Like, do you bring in another different challengers guy for Lins? Like, I don't really see it. I think the teams are going to bide their time, although Ike says they shouldn't. One team that might make a change is potentially Heretics, just because they do have 5 guys signs, and there's a big question who even is going to be their starting 4. Is Vikul going to be there still? Is Lucky going to be on the bench? Is it going to be JurNii on the bench? Is Erikboom going to be on the bench? I don't expect MettalZ to be on the bench, but honestly, who knows? So it is definitely plausible that they could start the season as a 4 that doesn't actually begin the year as a 4. They could swap things around before they even play their first tournament. So that is potentially an option. Now, the other thing that was discussed on the flank was an ideal Call of Duty game, a dream COD game that they put together. This was the screenshot of it, and it was pretty low quality, so Real PD Gaming put together this, which explains it in well, you guys can see it in slightly better detail. Now, let's be honest, my perfect COD game would be Movement, Black Ops 3, TTK, Black Ops 3, Metaguns, Black Ops 3, you know, basically it would be Black Ops 3. I might make some tweaks though, to be fair. And I generally like what the guys on the flank have come up with. I think that time to kill, Black Ops 4 to me was actually a bit too long. I don't mind Black Ops 4 time to kill, but you don't want the stim shot as far as I'm concerned. Black Ops 4 time to kill with no stim shot would have been really good. I actually would probably be tempted to swap both the TTK and the movements here. I think the Cold War time to kill was actually really quite good, and that would probably be my preference, especially because with the Krig, you had to hit like 2 headshots out of the 4 to get a 4 shot, otherwise it was a 5 shot. That was actually a nice legitimate skill gap there. It wasn't just one lucky headshot got you a shot less. You actually had to hit quite a few headshots, and then you had to aim for the head and actually get the headshots to make that work. So I liked Cold War time to kill. Movement, I don't really mind. I'm obviously a big fan of the jetpack era, so I probably would. Black Ops 3 was my favorite movement, but I do think that you know, you can't raid with jetpacks. Does that work? I mean, I don't know. To be fair, they did bring it back, actually. There's a map called Empire, you guys might remember. They brought Empire into Black Ops 3 as a DLC map, and that was just raids with a makeover. But if you're going for boots on the ground movement, I think that Black Ops 4 would have been my favourite. I don't really like Cold War movement, to be honest. The fact that when you started sprinting in Cold War, you were faster, and you had to, like, sprint, stop, sprint, and then sprint again to get your momentum back. That was all. I hated that. So get rid of that. Like, I'm down for Black Ops 4 movement with the grapple hook. Good fun. Black Ops 3 for the weapons, as far as I'm concerned, wins easily. Everything was viable on that game. The way that they made the weapons that year with the time to kills and the fire rate just made it so that basically every gun was viable. Like, if you look in the AR category, you've got the Man of War, you've got the HVK, you've got the M8, you've got the Shiva, you've got the XR2. Even the KN44 was actually not completely terrible. And even the ICR, like Octane used to use the ICR. So that's hands down for me. Maps and modes, I think they've done a pretty good job. I mean, Raid, Docks, like, I think this is good stuff. Search and Destroy especially, Warhawk, Strike. What I do wonder though, if you're going for boots on the ground movement, either Black Ops 4 or let's say Cold War, I don't know how well Fringe is going to work. I would love to put like Biolab in here. I love that map from Advanced Warfare. But is it really going to work with, you know, with no jumping? And also Retreat. Retreat, capture the flag from Advanced Warfare. That's going to work on boots on the ground movement? No, it's not. I mean, you're going to have to adapt the map quite a lot to make that work. And I'm not sure that's really going to happen. So, yeah, I don't know. With boots on the ground movement, you've got to be concerned about maps like Fringe actually playing well. I think a few of the Black Ops 4 maps I would throw in. There's a couple of others I'd like to see, though, because this is Detroit from Advanced Warfare. There's certain maps in those old school jetpack games that could work. Detroit, I think, is one of them. Movement was not necessary on this map. They might have to make a couple of adaptations, but this could play for boots on the ground, I think, and I would love to see this map in. This is also one of my favorite COD maps ever, is Retaliation. And sure, you could wall run on this wall, you could wall run on the outside of the bridge, but generally, was wall running and movement necessary for this map to play well? I don't really think so. There might be a couple of spots you might have to add a ladder in or something like that, but with a couple of changes, this could work. And I'd also want to throw in more Ghost S&D maps. Like, the fact that there's only Warhawk from Ghost Search, there needs to be more than that, I think. We need to bring Sovereign in, we need to bring Warhawk in, maybe even, like, I'd liked Freight, even though it wasn't my favorite, to be honest. Bring that back as well. And that would probably be pretty similar to my perfect card, but I do like Hardpoint Search CTF in general if it actually played well. So very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.